What's up, boys? Long time no see. You may be wondering what I'm doing here, basking in the glorious sunshine on this cliff face in Liurnia. It's simple. I'm just chilling here, thinking about how the hell I'm gonna title this video. Should I do Can I Beat Elden Ring as Destined Death? Nah, that's probably been done like 1,000 times by now. How about this? Can I beat Elden Ring as a Destined Death Assassin? Before we get into this run, let me explain a couple things. First, this is my second ever playthrough of Elden Ring and I'm playing in New Game Plus. And two, this build is not my idea. I mentioned it already in the finale of my first playthrough, but basically this is a build that Nizar GG came up with, so I'll leave his video linked in the description. I know that we're like a minute in here and I still haven't explained what the hell I'm even using, but luckily for you, I have a lovely assistant who will gladly give up his life in order to show you what the point of this build is. The main idea of the build is that I have the Black Knife, Godslayer incantations, and a Misericord dagger equipped with Flame of the Redmanes. Black Knife and the various Destined Death theme incantations are very powerful because they inflict damage over time, and the Black Blade and the Blade of Death skill instantly take off a chunk of HP when they connect. There's some immediate synergy with the Misericord and Flame of Redmanes because the Flame does a stupid amount of poise damage to enemies, and the Misericord has a small added bonus of dealing a shit ton of increased damage when you perform a critical strike on an enemy. So basically what I'm saying is, all of my enemies are up shit's creek without a paddle if they stay far away or if they come close to me. They literally can't do anything.
Dread me. Run from me. But know that you can't escape.
As I stepped out into Limgrave for the second time in my life, I had two things on my mind. One was that I wanted to beat every Remembrance boss in this run. By the way, that's like the entire point of this run as well. And the second thing that I had on my mind was, why the fuck did I draft Keenan Allen over Tyreek Hill in fantasy football? Granted, it was my first year ever doing it, but I could beat my own ass for doing something that's stupid. Don't worry, Var. I'll let you live. Now, my first order of business was to beat the brakes off the Limgrave Tree Sentinel and show you guys honestly how much I've improved since I first started playing Elden Ring. If you're new around here, Elden Ring was and is the first and only FromSoft game that I've ever played. Alright, horse breath, let me show you what I can do now! Ah, shit. Now, one thing I want to establish is that I was a little bit rusty on the sticks because I took about a month off from Elden Ring, mainly because I had to finish making the last two videos from my first playthrough. And I won't be showing every minor boss fight, but I'm just leaving this one here just for the sake of illustrating how I used the, the weapons at my disposal at the start of the run. You'll also notice that I have a dagger in my offhand. I had Bloodhound Step equipped on it, but I wound up just taking it off after a little while. I had the same relationship with that as the Duggar family had with condoms. I never really bothered using them. You know, one of my favorite things to do when I was going to win a fight was to just show off and do unnecessary anime finishes to win the battle. My only problem is, I don't think Mr. Tree Horseman was happy about me showboating. I would also love to know how my man had so much fight left in him, even though he had about as much health left as a Ligma patient, but you know, some questions are better left unanswered. Do I want to know what the Dung Eater does to those people after he kills them? Absolutely not. I've seen where you pick up the seedbed curses from. Alright, well, I guess now it's time to eat Margit's ass. Beat his ass. I'm sorry. You know, one thing I can never figure out about Margit is whether or not the whole omen horn situation is spread all across his body. I mean, not to get too specific, but I'd be pretty pissed off if I had horns growing out of my dick, too. I mean, not that it really matters anyway, because it's not like there's many women in Lands Between that are even worth going after, you know? That's not like a douchebag red pill thing. I mean, there's literally like 8 women in the entire game. And to top it all off, arguably the most important one, Melina, she friggin' incinerates herself to help you become Elden Lord. Oh yeah, and I didn't know if you noticed, but the Misericord obliterated Margit's health from that critical strike a second ago. I got Margit down to DEFCON 1, and it looked like I was gonna choke Atlanta Falcon style for a second there, but his longer combos, you know, they would trip me up sometimes, but in the end, I managed to win by the skin of my teeth. Look at me go, man! Beating Margit on my first try. Yeah, cower in fear of the night, my ass, dude. The only thing in this world that I fear are as follows. 1, making eye contact with attractive women, and 2, women that are into pegging. After defeating Margit, I held hands with a girl that has definitely gotten the Rule 34 treatment by now, and I got transported to the round table where... You know, fun fact, Gideon is one of the 2 characters that I genuinely despise in this entire game. Fuck you, you arrogant little piece of shit. Ah yes, Corrin. I can't wait to completely ignore you again like I did the first time around. Maybe next time, bud. And you! I don't even want to look at you. You're softer than the big titty goth girl's chest, my guy. Anyways, back to your regularly scheduled programming where you find me playing chicken with ballista bolts. I didn't win. Now Godric is up next, and I don't think I need to explain now because you've seen it already, but I'm using Golden Veil and Flame Grant Me Strength in this build because that was a part of the build, and I'm also a scared little boy that needs his buffs in order to feel safe. You don't understand, guys. I'm not addicted to the buffs. It's just that I need to use them before every single boss battle, or else I don't feel comfortable in my own skin. Now Godric's deformed ass walks like a girl that's doing the walk of shame, so I was able to get a Black Blade and Blade of Death on his ass for about a quarter of his health right off the rip. We will ignore the fact that he actually got a hit on me because I'm a little embarrassed and I want to create the illusion that I'm actually better than I really am. To be fair, this build wasn't very hard to use against slow-moving enemies. I kind of felt like a monkey in a zoo in a way. Just sitting back, flinging my shit at people. Now, Godric's second phase is an absolute joke, and I honestly should have killed him with a single critical strike, but just like the first time I had sex, I couldn't find the spot that I was supposed to put my sword in because I'm a dumbass. Also, like the first time I did the hanky-panky, I eventually figured it out and got us both to where we needed to be. You know what? That comparison doesn't really make any sense, but I'm just gonna go with it because I already committed to it and I don't feel like going back and changing it. Anyways, that's Remembrance Bros. Numero uno down, only 14 more to go. Oh shit, did I forget to feed the cat before I left? Now, before I went and got the first half of the Dectus medallion, I stopped by Grail's Dragon Burrow to pay an old friend a visit. And to show the Black Blade Kindred that no matter how far into New Game Plus I go, I still own his bitch ass. Yeah, woo! Yeah, amazing. Get one half now and the other later. What is this, a fucking AAA game title made by EA Sports? It's all good. I'm a doer. I'm not a complainer. Then I stopped by the Church of the Plague to give Millicent a hand, and then I just started doing a bunch of dumb shit because I couldn't decide whether or not I wanted to fight Rennala or Radahn first. Do you ever just stare up at the moon in the sky and think to yourself like, damn, how the hell did a shrimp fry this rice? This is also completely unrelated, but I took a detour down to the Date Ain't So Well, I think it was. Whichever one is in Eastern Liurnia that brings you down to the Ainsel River. And I found this little Easter egg, I guess you could call it, that I missed in my first playthrough. Like, imagine being someone 8 months ago, playing this game for the first time, and then just accidentally discovering this and coming down here with zero context whatsoever. You know, if I were a betting man, I'd wager that whenever you guys see me buffing up and drinking my physic before a fight, you would think that I was fighting an insanely powerful enemy. And that's where you would be wrong, because I'm literally just fighting the Red Wolf of Radagon right now. On the other hand, if Yasiel Puig wasn't a betting man, my god, he'd be sleeping a lot better at night right about now. I understand why athletes ain't allowed to bet on games while they're still in the sport. You know, it's very tacky. They could have an adverse effect on the entire fabric of the league and screw everything else up for the teammates, whatever. But damn it, free Calvin Ridley till it's backwards. My man got suspended for an entire year for just betting on his own team. The league didn't even have to hand him any punishment. Playing for the Atlanta Falcons is already enough of a punishment. Ah yes, Moongrum, Carrion Simplord. We meet again. Come on, dude. I own you. Just admit it.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me.
Oh shit, he walked right through it. You've got balls made of steel, man. I'm not gonna lie. I respect it. Alright, I had enough of this crap, dude. Rennala's not gonna bang you. Trust me, you wouldn't want it anyway. Man, it's been a while since I've been here. I forgot how many books she's got. The fuck? Yeah, this was probably the easiest boss fight that I'll ever have in the entire run other than Godric. I beat up enough kids and got Rennala to drop down from her safe space and face the real world, and then I managed to fight off the urge to projectile vomit from seeing her feet long enough to take her down to her second phase in one cycle. Now, much like the other astrology girls in the world, Rennala tried to use the powers of the moon to her advantage and to make her seem like she was worthy to overcome the obstacle in front of her, but really she just made an ass out of herself at the end of the day. Don't get me wrong, the fight was really easy, but I still got hit a few times. But I would never admit that. I kept spamming Flame of Redmanes like a good little PvP nerd, but then she summoned the Bloodhound Knight and I remembered what pain felt like. I feel like I'm running through friggin' no man's land here, man, fighting off wave after wave of attacks just to be rewarded with moving up like 3 feet. I couldn't think of anything funny to say in this part of the script, so here's a picture of a very cursed Kermit the Frog meme that my coworker sent. Yeah, there's not much else that needs to be said. I mean, Rennala sucks donkey balls when you're using anything resembling a normal build, and my brain is just too damn enormous to lose to her. That is, remember, it's number 2 right there, big dog. I'm like Sonic the Hedgehog in this bit. Next in line for an ass whooping is the Loretta Shade and Carrion Manor because I wanted to do Ronnie's quest again. And I actually want to get the Magic Scorpion charm from Celavis in this playthrough and not accidentally kill him, so for as much as I like this game, all these quest lines that get linked together just kind of make my head hurt, dude. Like, I've only got enough brain power to go around. Why you gotta make me think so much? Anyways, Loretta stinks. Sayonara. Nice knowing you. Kick rocks. I'll see you next time. My wife. I decided to go the Altus the way that Nintendo intended me to do by hiking up the ruin-strewn precipice and tickling Makar's underbelly until he passed out from laughing. I look back at this footage and my first thought is like, damn, why the hell is this so goddamn blurry with all these pixels? And then I remember, I'm playing on Xbox and I still haven't figured out what settings to use on OBS when I record. Look man, I never promised good picture quality, you guys are just gonna have to suck it up for now. Now alternatively, I could go out and get myself an Nvidia graphics card, but I've only got like 200 subscribers, dude. Like why would I spend all that money on something when like no one even watches my freaking videos anyway, you know what I'm saying? Next up is Genital Wart Radahn, but before we put him out of his misery, I committed war atrocities against these two cute little furry friends inside the castle courtyard. The fight started out like any Radahn battle. I whistled for my horse, dodged the first arrow, I dodged the first arrow, and then I proceeded to get taken to Pound Town Cleveland Brown style because I am the only idiot that has ever gotten hit by Radahn's arrow barrage. I finally managed to get my head together long enough to get off one hit, but god damn, I was getting smoked in the beginning. Have some Flame of Redmane! I kept chipping away at Radahn, and then he proceeded to go full Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift on Leonard, which was pretty friggin' rad, dude, not gonna lie. I was really trying my best just to stagger him with Flame of Redmanes, but I was getting my salad tossed, and Radahn was just beating my ass up and down Tinseltown. After his phase transition, I kept spamming Flame of Redmanes again, and I guess he has like 9 billion poison phase too, because he just refused to go down. It was impressive. Now, the entire fight was sloppy from beginning to end, but I prefer it sloppy anyway, so it usually works out for me that way. That's Radahn down. On to the next one. And I actually managed to get the magic scorpion charm this time. And then I felt like being a little silly goose, because I just went to fight Mohg, you know? I wanted to change it up a little bit. Remember at the round table when I said that Gideon is one of the 2 characters that I actually despise? You'll never guess who number 2 is. Here's a hint. He's big, black, and he fantasizes about doing weird shit to little kids. And no, I'm not talking about EDP 445. To make a long story short, I was a lot better at fighting Mohg in this run than in my first playthrough, but even this time it wasn't as simple as I would have liked. Unfortunately, I was not better than a pedo at the game this time, so I decided to come back later once I contacted Chris Hansen. I decided to make my way into Nokron after hating on Mohg from a mile away and admiring my own drip in the process. We are going to play a small prank on the Mimic tier. I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I equipped the Spike Cestus and left on my seal, so not only did I take myself to Pound Town in a literal sense, but I also used my ultra mega anime weeb looking ass spells to bring me down to my knees and make me beg for mercy against myself. I'm not saying I'm into being dominated, but like what does a man gotta do to get a thick goth girl with daddy issues to do that to me, not only in-game, but preferably in real life? Now the next boss was a fight that I never tried in my first playthrough and I really regretted it, and that was the Regal Ancestor Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer fight. Now, I was clearly way too powerful for such a scrub like the Regal Ancestor, but I figured if I could get this over quickly and put him out of his misery that, you know, I could just take his meat in a perfectly straight way, not gay whatsoever, and have enough meat stocked up to last through the winter. Also, not in a gay way. The Regal Ancestor never stood a chance against me, and to be honest, this fight has always been more about the visual spectacle than in the actual challenge, you know? After that, I fetched the Finger Slayer blade for Ronnie like a good boy, and then I made my way into this beautiful cave with a waterfall at the back of it that Minecraft YouTubers wish that they could build anything close to resembling. What a sight. And no, I'm not talking about the bitch-ass gargoyle that thinks I don't see him up there. Valiant my ass. Where's your little buddy at, dude, huh? I'll beat both your asses. Even though the Valiant Gargoyles is one of the most loathed fights in all of the game, there's something that you need to know about my relationship with the Gargoyles in this game. I own these bitches. Every single last one of them. It literally does not matter what variation, whether it's Blackblade Kindred, Valiant Gargoyle, Gargoyle Field Bosses near the Royal Capital, I own them. They ain't got shit on me. You think that fighting 2 of these knuckleheads at the same time phases me? Hell, if anything, it just gives me more gargoyles to kill at the same time. Aw, wow, that's cute. Your twin blade friend is here to save you? Yeah, dude, suck my bird, you're dead. Reddit users when a woman won't have sex with him even though he held the door out for her. Even though I'm personally pretty good at fighting the gargoyles, I'm not like so good that I'll go hitless against them or anything like that, you know? That is the only credit that I will ever give these guys, is that they are slightly good enough to allow me to not go hitless against them. Now that might be slightly exaggerated, but the point still stands, man. They suck. O'Doyle rules, hit 'em right, and the family jewels. After that, I got transported up the waterfall because gravity is merely a man-made construct. And then I found myself in the Root Canal Depths, which sounds infinitely more horrible than Deeproot Depths. I decided to explore them later, and for the time being, I got transported back to Mommy Ronnie so I could hear her tell me how much of a good manservant I've been. I made my way down to the Lake of Rod, and then the friggin' PTSD started to kick in. God damn it. Oh my god, I hate this place. Oh shit, I completely forgot. I'll be needing this. Up next is every competitive chess player's worst nightmare. Astel. Cosmic Anal Bead. I opened the fight by channeling my inner heterosexual gymnast and doing all kinds of twirls and flips and shit. Unfortunately, I never learned how to dodge this attack, but sometimes you've got to eat the dirt and learn your place in this world. I thought that this would be one of those fights that turned into a Flame of the Redmanes fest, but no, I actually got to use the Black Blade for once. Come on, big fella. You know you want to stagger for me. Come on, big fella. The back end of the fight was the same as the front, which would make for a very interesting stripper experience. Where would you even put them dollar bills at? That's all there was to Astel, honestly. I destroyed this bum. He ain't got nothing on me. After finishing Ronnie's quest and getting yet another Dark Moon Greatsword, I made my way to the far reaches of the Deeproot Depths, where I fought against Fia's Simplords. I won't lie, dude. It was my first time fighting against these knuckleheads, and I was genuinely surprised at how annoying these guys could be at times. Maybe it was all the leftover sexual frustration from their lives, or maybe Fia promised them some sloppy toppy if they killed me. I don't know, dude. Whatever it was, I had to think about this fight a lot more than I thought I would have heading into it, that's for sure. The fight against Fortnite might be one of the coolest looking fights in the game, but I'm still gonna have to kill him. This fight was just like all the others, man. Just chucking fireballs and shit at him because I really didn't know what else to do, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I never licked a battery as a kid, but I imagine this is what it would feel like. I was trying my best to stagger Fortiball Sax, but he was just simply built different and I couldn't really do anything.
Life has many doors, Ed boys!
Holy! I can't lose after hitting a sick dodge like that on an attack I've never seen before. Well, you can't dodge them all, though. One thing I forgot to mention so far is that every single Remembrance boss victory that you've seen so far was my first attempt at that fight. $19 Fortnite card got beat on my first try. Same deal with the demigods. Funnily enough, Smegma Worm Makar took me a couple tries, which kind of baffles me considering the Magma Worms give off hella NPC energy, and honestly, they're like the easiest bosses to beat in my opinion. Damn, this is so sad. Can we get a RIP Fia in the chat? Oh my god! Now we're definitely gonna need an RIP Fia in the chat. Good lord. Now, next up is the fight against the Draconic Tree Sentinel, and I honestly have no idea why I would even show this fight in full unless I was doing a legit challenge run, because honestly, I find this fight about as interesting as listening to a room full of gender studies students try to talk about literally anything other than gender studies. Oh, wow. Man, Millicent, it's really funny that you're here, you know? Shit, fuck, I turned my back for like a second and she died. Man, what the hell happened? Yeah, there's definitely nothing fishy about what I just did, you know? Definitely a coincidence that I got an item that you can't normally get till the end of the game. I've got a really important question for you guys before we get into the capital. Okay, so hear me out. How big do you think Grand Sax's cock was? I'm just saying, he definitely had a hog on him. Look at how big he was. Alright, that's enough acting like a cock connoisseur for right now. Into pee-pee poo-poo fucking Godfrey shade, where I'm the only person that has ever gotten hit by his stomp attack. Seriously, I might be the only dumbass on the face of the earth that has ever gotten hit by that attack. Everyone else can just jump over it, but not me. I have the reaction time of a drunken sloth. Despite all the self-trash talking, Godfrey never really stood a chance because using the Misericord for critical strikes is honestly significantly more optimal than using another weapon. There's really not much else to be said, you know? This build is just kind of overpowered at this point, and looking back at this footage, this really wasn't much of a challenge run, was it? Thou art a passing skill. Shut the fuck up, Morgott. Your mother doesn't even love you. 70% of the time, I get hit by the first attack, 100% of the time. The best thing about Morgott is that he staggers easily as hell. I was so relieved, man. I didn't think he'd be below half health after like 4 of my attacks, but here we are. He tried to rain on my parade with his swords, but I am just too light on my feet, and not in a homosexual way. He started hacking up a lung after my Blade of Death, but I don't feel bad whatsoever because I told this dude to stop smoking like 15 years ago, and he didn't listen to me, so that sounds like a personal problem for him now. After one more use of the Blade of Death, I sent Morgott packing in style with my super ultra giga chad anime weeb American Ninja Warrior attack. Not only did I one attempt Morgott, but I wasn't even close, dude. This might be the most vile and disgusting build I've ever seen in my life. Nizar GG, you're a maniac, dude. Damn, this is so sad. Can you guys tell me what your favorite memory of your parents is in the comment section so we can all rub it in Morgott's face that our parents actually loved us before he dies? Alright, I admit, that was kind of messed up. You know, Morgott is arguably my favorite character in the game, so I really should know better. That was kind of messed up. And to the Forbidden Lands, and you know what that means.
Monster kill.
After I showed the vulgar militiamen who their daddy was as is custom on this channel, I made my way up into the Mountaintops of the Giants, and then I took on Nile, which turned out to be the first real pain in the ass in the run. I think I died like 5 times before this attempt, but this one turned out to be pretty good if I do say so myself. I took out the second Banished Knight summon, and that's when the real fight began. There's a reason why everyone skipped Nile before that got patched out of the game all those months ago, but This attempt was really simple for some reason. Niall just kept showing off his sick air, and while I was very jealous of his vertical, that doesn't mean shit, honestly, when this is a fight to the death. Now, I know that Pokemon logic doesn't apply to everything, but in my humble opinion, with a guy that thinks he's frozen with all these ice attacks, I think he should be a little more weak to fire damage, but it is what it is. All I know is that the Black Blade is friggin' sick, dude. Look at that thing. The other thing I know is that if you're new around here, you should subscribe to my channel. It's been like 20 minutes and I haven't acted like a YouTuber yet, and I need to do this or else Susan Wojnicki, or whatever the hell her name is, will make me go to bed without eating dinner tonight. So please, have mercy, sir. So, we get both halves of the Haligtree medallion after I beat Niall, and then after I shook up this homeless man. And then I did Nepheli's quest, because in return for helping her find some meaning in her pathetic life, she gives me an ancient bonker Schmitty stone, which is pretty radical if I do say so myself. Next up in my adventure to become Pokemon champion is everyone's favorite boss, Mr. Long, Tan, and Handsome himself. Man, what a guy. What an absolute stud. Did you guys know the Fire Giant is eligible to declare for the NBA draft this year? I mean, if I was the Lakers or the Pistons right now, I'd definitely tank for this guy. I don't see any center in the league being able to back this dude down. Alright, just a little more... Wait, why is it all quiet all of a sudden? This fight against the Fire Giant was very strange because even though I did beat him in my first attempt, it just took forever because I was so used to having like a mainly physical damage build like in my last run, and because I am God's most intelligent creation, I kept trying to stun him with Flame of the Redmanes, which, as you know, is about as effective as telling your wife or girlfriend to calm down when they get upset. I really don't know why telling them to calm down doesn't work, to be honest, but hey, you're talking to a guy that's been in 2 failed relationships, so take my advice with a grain of salt. Now, the majority of Phase 1 was exactly like what you're seeing now. I hit the Fire Giant with the Blade of Death, Ash of War, then the Black Blade Incantation. Well, most of the time the Black Blade would hit, and then it was back to playing Horse Girl Simulator. Phase 2 started off with me simply getting out of his way of his eruption attack and just riding behind him so I could hit him from the back with my Black Blade. That sentence should have never left my head, I'm so sorry. I got pretty upset when I finally staggered him because I was on the wrong side of his chest, torso, mouth thing, so I couldn't even get a critical strike off. Now, the rest of the fight was more of Blade of Death than just rinse and repeat, honestly. The Fire Giant almost turned me into a rotisserie chicken at one point, but luckily for me, I'm always so iced out to the point that no amount of heat is going to make me leave the kitchen. Now, luckily for me, all I had to do was hit him with one more Black Blade attack, and then...
Why won't you die?
I eventually did end the Fire Giant's life just a few months before he could live out his dream of dunking on Rudy Gobert's bitch ass 4 times a year, but he couldn't do it before a 5'9" Tarnish dunked on him, so sucks to suck. Now, after the Fire Giant, I decided to give Rikers Island a shot, and it didn't dawn on me at the time that I should have been using just the weapons from my build to beat him if I really wanted to consider this a challenge run, but I was really just focused on beating the game at this point that I just completely slipped my mind. I'm not going to show the whole fight because of it, but hopefully you guys get the point and accept me for who I am despite that, you know, my brain doesn't function at its fullest unless I'm trying to practice guitar or something, you know. Now, by the way, thank you for your kind words on my last guitar video, guys. I mean, Radahn uploaded the first video showcasing the top 50 entries, and I didn't make it in, but all of that means is that your boy just has to do a little bit more wood shedding on the guitar, so I definitely want to include more guitar and music stuff on the channel, and I mean, like I said before, I'm thankful for you guys, like, reacting to the way you did to that video. I appreciate it. I figured I would go fight Mohg again before advancing through Farum Azula. I don't know what got into me on this day in particular, but I went from fighting the Fire Giant all the way to the end of the game and beating Elden Beast within the span of, like, 7 hours or something, which, for me, is pretty good. What was also wonderful about this day is that even though I died to Mohg like 30 times before calling it quits the first time around, I one-attempted him on this day, dude. But this is also the last fight where I was able to be a boss in one shot, so I think I might actually have Mohg's fight down at this point, even though it's still a huge pain in the keister to have to deal with him slinging his molten smegma all over the arena. I got into a really nice rhythm when it came to dodging his attacks with his spear, and honestly, I got kind of lucky with my own attack animations ending perfectly right before I was supposed to dodge sometimes. The beginning of Phase 2 was a perfect time for me to just hang back, rebuff with Golden Bow, replenish my health and FP, and then just begin my second wave of assault onto this piece of crap. Staggering Mohg was a huge part of my rhythm in the second phase because he just stays staggered long enough to where I can get a quick heal off and then hit him with the old Chord of Misery. I'm not even going to try to sound humble, dude. I was cooking up Mohg like a southern woman was cooking up jambalaya, baby. Just look at him. Look at our little flock of turtles and how much he's grown up. Call me the mitochondria because I am the motherfucking powerhouse up in this bitch. I was having a lot of success with Flame of the Redmanes, but I didn't want to forget about the Black Blade spell and the Black Knife Ash of War, so I had to use them a little bit too. I have no clue what he was thinking, but Mohg had some big NPC energy at the end of the fight. Dude was just standing there menacingly, and I was like, okay, suit yourself, big fella. That's a win for me. Well, the Godskin Duo's up next, and I'm gonna do it, even though I'll complain the entire time. And believe me, I was in fact complaining the entire time on the first attempt. I messed up and got both of them down to their second phases, so I just got steamrolled. But it didn't take me long to show Slenderman and Charles Barkley, who runs the show around here, because I beat them in my very next attempt. It wasn't like I had them against the ropes for the entire fight either. I had to do some tactical running away like a brave boy. I felt like I had complete control most of the time. I feel like in a normal circumstance, I'd be panic rolling a little bit, but not this time. None whatsoever. I was trying a little too hard to stagger Skinny Boy once I took out the first Godskin Noble, and it almost cost me my life. But luckily for me, I got what I was looking for not too long after my brush with death. Ah man, sometimes I wish I just had an upgraded dagger in my offhand for a power stance moveset, but I won't complain. I beat the game anyhow. Send the word out, the fat man is back. I figured if I could get a critical strike on Tons of Fun, it would probably kill him in time for me to have a 1v1 with the Godskin Apostle, but I kind of freaked out a little bit when I messed up the critical hit. I don't know if the Godskin Noble's a Limp Bizkit fan or not, but I imagine he probably would be, because he just wouldn't stop rolling for half the friggin' fight. I positioned myself in the Goldilocks zone on the pillar, then used Flame of the Red Mains in a short range attack until I was mano-a-mano with Machine Gun Kelly. It was just me and Little Bo Peep left. Even though he usually does way more damage than me in these fights, I actually prefer fighting the Godskin Apostle because I have a better grasp on his moveset. I knew I had him right where I wanted because he was allowing me just enough time and space to get off my range attacks, and I saw an opening in his phase transition. That's what I get for trying to go for skill points, I guess. But it didn't really matter because he tried summoning a fireball, and I whipped around and hit him right in the jaw with my favorite projectile, thus putting an end to the Godskin's reign of terror in these Forsaken lands. As you can see, I was pretty happy. Alright. Now, about Placidusax. Funny story on this one. So, while I was enjoying the fight in my first few attempts, I gotta be honest here, I was just so sick and tired of dying and then having to go all the way back to this friggin' site of grace and go through all those damn birds and that friggin' dragon all over again. So I took the liberty of summoning our boy Tyrone so I could have some fun slaying flaccid dude sex with my partner in crime. Now, of course, I won't deny that Tyrone was basically a punching bag for most of the fight, but hey, if it wasn't for me, he'd still be trapped in Nokron in that damn chest, so. And to be honest, he'd probably be yoinked up by some dude from IGN that's probably still whining about how Elden Ring is too hard and needs to have an easy mode so brainless NPCs like him can get the satisfaction of beating a game that is literally meant to be hard. Ironic that I just said that after calling in the most broken summon in the game to help me, but yeah, I'm just gonna treat this like the right card fight, you know. Because I called in the Mimic tier, I'll save you the details and just lead this fight with an asterisk next to it. I definitely could have beaten Placidusax without any help, but I was kind of in a rush to get this video out, so it is what it is. I made a business decision, guys. Dude, I don't know what it is about Maliketh, but on paper with this build, he should literally have been the easiest endgame boss, and I struggled so hard with him because I'm just so stupid in his first phase. The bestial incantation should be so easy to dodge, and yet I literally can't do it. Now, with that being said, when I staggered him, it was night time because I picked up the dagger talisman before this fight, and the critical hits were just like, oh, he's doing an anime pose. I'm not even gonna say anything, dude. This is like getting knocked out in the first 20 seconds of a boxing match. It was only about 4 attempts later where I basically just spammed Flame of the Red Mains enough to stagger the balls off of the Goth Bunny Rabbit and critical hit my way to victory. That's also what my opponent did in my first ever Pokemon VGC tournament in Trenton, New Jersey, of all places, but I do not harbor any grudges to that loss whatsoever. Nope. Even if it was purely down to luck and zero skill and just was a product of RNG, I am definitely not salty about that loss whatsoever. Oh my god, it feels like I got run over by a fucking semi-truck, dude. God. Oh my god, what the hell? Oh, I think my wife was right. I forgot to take the meatloaf out the oven. She's gonna kill me. Ah, look who decided to show up. Sir Gideon Cocksmear, the all-knowing. What coincidence that you just showed up here, dude. I mean, dude, I was really starting to worry about you with the whole burning of the Erd Tree and then all this other craziness happening, man. I really can't believe that you just so happened to end up right in front of me right before I become Elden Lord. That's so crazy. Yeah. State of affairs, my ass. This one's for Nepheli Lou, you old fart.
Can I put my balls in your jaw? Your jaw. Balls in your jaws.
Alright, now that Gideon's bitch ass got sent to British hell, aka literally just being in England, how about we take on a real opponent for once? One that actually gave me the biggest challenge in my entire run so far. I died a bunch of times to Godfrey in Phase 1 and 2, and I want to say it took me about 30 tries before I could beat Godfrey this time around. I was giving him too much space, and I just couldn't dodge the attacks that everyone should really know how to avoid, you know? You have no idea how close I was to taking my Xbox and launching it out of my window on this attempt. Luckily for me, I got my revenge on Hulk Hogan in the very next attempt. I had it worked down to a science at this point with Flame of Red Mains, and it took me about 3 or 4 hits from that, 1 critical strike, and then like 2 or 3 more hits from other things before I could get him down to his John Rambo phase. I actually had no idea I was this close to staggering him again at the start of the Horaloo phase, and it was a much needed gift because I had his HP down to about a quarter already, dude. I learned that I really just had to be patient with Horaloo, because in all of my failed attempts, it seemed like I was really just trying to rush through the fight without really thinking about what I was doing.
Hello, motherfucker.
I was able to get off the most clutch Flame of Redmane's attack the world has ever seen before delivering one fatal blow to the OG Elden Lord. It's a good thing I got that stagger when I did, because I saw him leap into the air, my entire life flashed before my eyes, and I thought I was about to die, like literally the same way I just did on the attempt before. Did I already tell you guys to subscribe to the channel? Look, if I did already, I'm sorry. This is the longest script that I've had in a while, and my brain is starting to turn into mush even while I'm recording this voiceover. Now, I'm not very proud to admit this, but the Crab Rangoon and Elden Schmeat Beast fight took me about a dozen or so tries before I finally showed them just how much better at the game than I am. My Radagon attempts were pretty sloppy by my standards, because mostly in my first playthrough, I legitimately hit a brick wall and I got stuck on this fight for over 100 tries, so I pretty much have Radagon's moveset memorized to the point where I could do this fight in my sleep, even if there was a fire. Actually, you know, no, not if there was a fire. I'm not trying to get trapped in a burning fucking house and then look like Harvey Two-Face. It's already hard enough for me to pull women as it is in my life, dude. I sure as hell wouldn't be able to do it if half my fucking face looked like a vegan burrito. Anyways, my strategy mostly revolved around Flame of Red Mains, as per usual. And looking back at this fight, this would have been a really good time to have a dagger in my offhand so I could get, like, a little bit more physical damage off, but, you know, at this time, I was already committed to just using the weapons that got me up to this point in the first place, and now, since the Elden Beast fight took me, like, 10 freaking minutes this time around, I'll just split it into 2 little sections, because the fight was kind of boring and mundane, and it was all just the same stuff, so I was pretty much doing the same thing I've always been doing, alternating between the Black Flame, Black Knife, and the Misericord depending on the situation. Yeah, you know, now that I think about it, I could just literally title the video that, altering between the Black Flame, Black Knife, and Misericord for 40 minutes. Anyways, before I let myself slip into a vicious cycle of self-loathing, let me actually bring some positivity in this bitch by thanking you all for the support on the last few videos, and just by thanking you, you know, if you made it this far. I'm still trying to figure out how exactly I want to edit these in the future, you know? I'm considering making the future Elden Ring videos kind of sped up, you know, like what you're seeing just now, just as a way to keep them shorter and not like 40 minutes long or however this video is going to turn out. You know, it would just save my brain and my friggin' corneas a little bit of stress from having to stare at my screen for this long while I'm editing, you know? It's stress that's worth it in a way, but I gotta make sure I'm not legally blind by the time I'm 35, so I think it's very fitting that we finished off the Elden Beast with a critical strike. I mean, it makes sense considering the build is pretty much centered around them, you know? Yeah, suck on that one, Golden Order. And before you guys start to question whether or not I could beat Malenia, the short answer is, yes, I did, but not without some assistance from our hapless Lord and Savior Tyrone. So, like the other fight that I called him in, I really won't be going too in-depth, you know, because I'm going to leave an asterisk by this one as well. Believe it or not, I actually learned how to dodge Malenia's waterfowl dance on this run. No, thank you. The pleasure's all mine. I know, I'm amazing at this game, but everyone else has to get some credit too. God, I make myself sick sometimes. Yeah, you guys gotta help me stay in check, dude. All this success of having 220-something YouTube subscribers is going to my head. Well, let me correct myself. I could dodge the waterfowl maybe like 40% of the time because it really defended heavily on my spacing from Melinda, and I would usually get nicked at least once or twice from the combo, but I actually attempted this fight maybe like 40 times or so before I just tapped out and called in Tyrone. And even then it took me I think like 10 tries with him too. As you can see, I got myself some frost pots because in the last run, I never really bothered getting the recipe for them, and they came in handy a lot considering you can pretty much just negate any one of her attacks when she gets hit by them. The funny thing was, there was a few attempts where I would go to throw the pot and miss, and then I would just get absolutely friggin' destroyed. I honestly didn't even know that a pot could miss, but yeah, I learned that the hard way, you know? Other than that, this was a very satisfying way to cap off what was a very fun playthrough, and one that has truly made me question if this was even a challenge run or not. I said it once, but I'll say it again. Nizar GG. If you see this video, you're an absolute mad lad for conjuring up such a beautiful and nasty build, bro. Well, everyone, if you've made it this far, you're the definition of a stud, and I hope that your family is blessed with health and happiness in whatever form you may see fit. I already got my build for New Game Plus 2 planned out, and like I said in the last Elden Ring video, my plan is to take my Testudine's character all the way up and beat the game at the max difficulty using whatever build I conjure up when I get there. Thank you to everyone that watched this video, whether you've been a part of the channel and, you know, of this little community for a while now, or if you're a newbie that just came by to check my channel out on this video. That's all for me for today. I've been Flock of Turtles, you've been amazing, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves, guys. I'll see you later.